Hey guys, this is a really quick video, and it's a more of a behind the scenes one. As you can see, I'll be grabbing my Braille Note in just a second, and I'll be heading into the office kind of like late today because I'll be going into my home office. But I'm also going to be recording a tutorial later on this morning, which was going to go out yesterday, but it's going out today, and it's basically, it's not a tutorial, but it's stuff that it's a project I'm working on, which I thought you'd be interested in, so I want to do that later on. So I've got to sort my newspapers out first, and I've got to sort emails out and stuff like that. So it's really a very busy morning and stuff like that. But I thought I would show off and all that kind of stuff. Basically, all the things that I'm doing. But I'm starting a brand new episode for a series called Knowing Your PBX, because people have been asking about my PBX system. So I'm doing a very quick vid later on. Later on this morning. Sorry if I'm a bit sniffly, bit hay feverish, bit of a pollen in the air. But also, I'm doing a project based on something for an AI company which I'm helping out. So, and it's to design a program which will help, a program which will do something for robots in hospitals. And if you want to know what, I'm actually going to write my project brief on this baby here. Now, this is not a toy computer by any means, but this is not a toy computer by any means, but that doesn't mean that I can't write a Word document of any form. So I'm writing a Word document on this machine. It's going to be quite lengthy. I don't like writing, but this project, the deadline is literally in 3 months, but you know, forgetting the whole thing. But obviously I'll be doing the project just under 3 months. So obviously, I'll show you the project. I'll talk you through the project at some point for those interested. I won't do a series on it because I'm sworn to secrecy, so I can only show you certain parts of it because it's for hospitals. It's going to control robots. It's basically a program about robots. If you're wondering what's hanging out the back of my Braille Note, it's my talking newspaper. It's my USB memory stick that I have plugged in there. I also have an SD card, 2 gig SD card in here. So that is it. But as you probably can't see, the Braille display is turned off. And I will do another review of the Braille Note at some point and talk people through it. But I'll probably do something different on the Braille Note, something different, a different Braille Note video, because this Braille Note is a great note taker, but I try and push its boundaries. To what what it's not capable of. So I try and push its boundaries a little bit more. But it's great. It's a great little writing keyboard. Has clicky keys, which is what we like. And the keys feel really nice on here. If you are not a fan of those old style braillers where sometimes you have to press hard on the keys, with this you don't have to press hard at all on the keys. Just a slight little touch of a key and it does something. So it's great. I've spoke to a lot of people in the Braille Note community who have in the Braille community that use these for things. I'm still trying to set this up as a Braille display than an actual note-taking device, but because you can actually connect this up to your smartphone via Bluetooth, but there is a few little issues that you have to do before you can set that up. But I've watched a few tutorials, but really, I don't use this as a slave for the smartphone. I use this as, what it's meant to be. I use this as a Braille Note. I know that Humanware now actually do they do Braille tablets, but this is better than a tablet because it's got all the hardware functionalities and stuff like that. So it's actually got like a proper chipset running inside it. It's got really nice circuit board running on it, and the software runs the hardware and all that kind of thing. But so yeah, but I am actually using this. I use this for writing really long documents because I don't like computer keyboards so much these days. I don't know what it is. When I was at school, I never spent a lot of hours at a computer. It was more college where that happened. And, I mean, back in the early days, so that's how it works. But the problem is, right, when I was in school, I never got a choice of what I could use. It was, you have a brailler, you have a pen, you have a computer. So at school, and it wasn't until I left school when tutors at college were saying, do you want to use a brailler or a computer? And I realised I could pick the computer over the brailler any day. And then when I went into mainstream college, and I started using the computer, absolutely, it wasn't an option, because the computer was fantastic. So, really, now I use a computer more over a Braille machine. But, I'll do a video on that, another video on it. But anyway, I just thought I'd do this nice little behind the scenes description, this behind the scenes video. I'm in my old YouTube space at the minute because like I said, I haven't even got ready yet, and you can still see my charger dangling in the background. Oh, that looks like an old TV line, doesn't it? Or probably something else. Anyways, well, as always, I will just show you the Braille Note running, actually. And as you heard it say, we're in main menu. You can't really see the dots properly. I don't think. Doesn't really matter. So I've got it turned on. You know. So and I do look after this Braille Note. I look after this more than I look after like any laptop because they're really expensive. Ooh, look at the serial ports on there. I would like to say that HumanWare have got rid of a few of the things that are on this device here. Like mine still has. And I've never ever used it. Oops. Don't think you can see that properly. That is a PC card port, my friends and foes. And no, I've never ever used it. I was going to get a PC card for this and realised that they're not very big. You know, SD cards tend to be bigger these days. My external hard drive, though, my little 600 gig, I plug that in and it works wonders and it's full to the brim. But if I plug my terabyte hard drive in, it's got that much on it, it chokes it. And that's the question I see a lot on Facebook groups. And I always answer to, yes, you can plug an external hard drive in, but make sure it's not, not too big. And a lot of people from HumanWare or RNIB won't tell you, that it chokes the system, So just plug like smaller memory drives in, It'll go up to 600 gig fine. And, if you want to use your Braille Note as like a desktop Braille machine, I guess. Sorry, a desktop computer with Braille display, then I would just go via that option. But this does not do the things that a laptop can do. It can connect to Wi-Fi. But with this, because it's an old Braille Note, because this is like a really old Braille Note, I have to get a network card, which goes into there, which again, Braille Note, HumanWare have got rid of that port. But I'd have to get an old network card, I'd have to plug it in. Actually, does have an Earthnet socket on it. No, it just has a USB serial connector for obviously connecting. You can connect QWERTY keyboards to this. Why you'd want to. I mean, you can actually connect this to printers, embossers. All that kind of thing. I've tried printing documents on this. It's not the best at doing that, really. It's kind of very fiddly. So, I go about the long way of doing things when I want to print something, which is I translate the document, then I put it on pen drive and stuff like that. Yeah, translate the file first, and I well, actually, I do that the long way as well. I do everything the long way because when I first got this, and we were taught how to do file translation, but in actual fact, that takes so long. It's really, and you've got to do it like the right way as well. The way I do it is real quick. I'll like load up a new document, and I'll give it a name, and then I'll get the BRF file, and I'll insert that into the Word document, and then I'll have that saved, and that is so quick, the translating a file. But I will try and do file translation just to show you guys how it all works. And really, these days, a lot of people know about it because I've spoke to people on was it Facebook that say, "Oh, cool, it's a Braille Note, wow." But I guess kind of doing a Braille document and turn it to print. I guess kind of people understand that you're using something to write in your own format and then, put it into something else. You know. I mean, it's like Vocers. If people don't know what a Voker is, I will talk on communication aids. I think I'll do a video on that. But a Voker was really good, a really cool piece of technology. They were like really massive tablets. But they were for like people like that couldn't speak. But now, if you've seen the Lost Voice guy on Britain's Got Talent, he uses his iPad as a voker. So really, it's kind of look where technology's gone. I think soon there will be Braille displays that are real cheap on the market, which anybody can buy. Like back in the day, we would pay, like 8,000 quid for Jaws. When now we just buy a cheap Mac. Well, Macs don't come cheap, but we just buy a MacBook Pro, which is the equivalent of buying a computer with Jaws on it. And you know, so you're basically yeah, it's the equivalent of buying a computer with jaws on, and you've got you speech and stuff. But actually, um, Windows users have got the luxury of just getting NVDA. So um, I spoke to the guys at Dolphin actually. Um, they're a technology company, and I'm gonna say right, these special technology companies do not like geeks. I'll do a video on that as well. They don't like geeks because they think they think that people they think that tech people, or you know, they want to sell a product. They don't really want to, you know, Sight and Sound. They were another. Was it Sight and Sound? People that sell Jaws and another. They were a bit ommy and ahry, but um, but yeah, Dolphin hate geeks. They hate, like, if you question them, like, if you say, what does this do? They'll show you what it does immediately. But then when you say, like, what does this work on? Does this work on this? Does it work on that? They'll then say, well, are you thinking of buying the product? You know, but I spoke with Dolphin, the guys that do Supernova, and they had a pretty cool thing. They had a scanner where you could read a book. You could freeze the text, and you could save that as a PDF immediately, instantly. And I was like, wow, you know, hooked by that technology, you know. And when Dolphin showed it me, I was really, really impressed. And they really showed their technology off. But the reason I don't go to these special technology events is because they're showing things off that helps people. They don't show anything off that's pretty cool. They don't show off. I mean, when's the next games console for visually impaired people coming out? I mean, Xbox have announced that they're going to be doing audio described games, but really, that sort of exists because there was a few games that were audio described. Quake, they did an audio described version of that. I believe there was a hack, a Doom hack. If people are lovers of Doom, there was an online version of Doom that was only available online. And this was the days when, like, there were certain games you could go on the internet with. But there was a hack they did with Doom where if you went online with Doom, there would be an audio described version of Doom. I mean, there were some big PlayStation titles they were gonna have as audio described. I think Tomb Raider was going to have an audio described feature on it where Lara tells you how to move, but they took that feature away because Lara does that anyway, I believe. And in Tomb Raider 2, there is a very good example in Tomb Raider 2 when Lara says to swim, press circle, to jump, press X, to move me, press. And, you know, if you did it wrong, she'd go, no, that's the wrong thing. You know, and they did that in Tomb Raider 2. So we saw it in Tomb Raider 2, and so it happened. So that's why they took that feature away in Tomb Raider. I think the later Tomb Raider games could have done with it, but I would love to see an audio described version of Assassin's Creed. That would be a very good game that we have, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in Assassin's Creed. But I think these audio described games aren't going to be very good, because it takes the feel of the game away. I think the audio described feature should be full, half, or none. But what game would I personally like to see audio described? Well, I would love to see audio described. I'd love to see Call of Duty audio described. That would be because I was gonna be a Call of Duty fan in the early days, and I bought Call of Duty, and I found it a very difficult